Hi, I'm speaking on topics as they come to mind, and today I'm talking about diagnosis and how sometimes when we're given a label, we can allow it to define us and limit us and make us feel that this is who we are. So, whatever that diagnosis might be, whether it's physical or whether it's a mental health diagnosis like anxiety or depression or PTSD or borderline personality or schizophrenia, all those kinds of mental health things. So, when I was diagnosed with cancer back in late 2002, all I wanted to know was what's my percentage chance of surviving this, and I wanted to know what chance do I have of not surviving it. So what I was basically asking is the doctor, who was in his 60s, he retired the year after, is how much I should believe in my future. I wanted to know from him what I should believe. And this is a really dangerous thing because every diagnosis, as we're given it, we have like a whole lifetime of information about stuff, whether we know it or not. And we create associations. So if somebody tells me that I have ADHD, every time I forget something, every time I'm unorganized, every time I'm late, I'm going to say, oh, that's my ADHD. Well, even though everybody has moments where they feel unorganized or late or chaotic or lose stuff or, that kind of thing. And that happens to me all the time. So whatever we believe, we buy into, we create it, and then it's kind of like our nervous system is scanning and matching. It's like, oh, yeah, that's me, that's not me, that's not me. And luckily for me, back when I had cancer, my doctor was a smart man, and he told me, what difference does it make what I tell you? If I tell you you've got 99% chance of survival and you're that 1% that doesn't make it, how is it helpful that you had 99% chance that I said that to you? And he said, and if I tell you that you have 99% chance that you won't survive and you're that 1% that does survive, then what difference does it make? The only thing that matters is the individual, what your outcome is. So he said, what I want you to believe in is that we are treating to cure. And I want you to believe in that. And so, as I said, he was a very experienced doctor. He'd been doing oncology and hematology for a very long time. And he probably had seen all kinds of case outcomes and recognized that when somebody believes they're going to die, they will die. And when they believe they're going to live, they will live. So very, very important that the information that you're giving yourself about your health, including your diagnosis, is positive, resourceful, supportive. And if it's not, then for you to recognize that every diagnosis has a multitude of outcomes. And it is possible for you to be more than your diagnosis. So since then, I have studied a lot of things. I've studied nutritional medicine. I've studied mind stuff and hypnotherapy and how the unconscious mind is running our body and our life, and that everything that we program into it, we're not aware of. And so placebo effect is a real thing. If somebody believes that they're given a pill and that pill is going to cure them, there is a really, really strong number of people, like significantly impactful, that actually get better in sicknesses that supposedly are not improvable. So what you define in yourself, what you believe about your future, about your capacity, about your capability, about your limitations, are all going to reflect back in your life. In mental health, it can be a relief to finally be given a diagnosis. If you've been feeling a certain way or feel like you're not the same as everyone else, that you're different, that you're not coping, etc., it can be helpful for someone to hand you a diagnosis. Hey, the reason why you have this experience is because you have this. And it can be very comforting to us because now I won't use the word excuse, but it's like we can justify, we're being validated. It's valid for us to have this, but it can be dangerous. It's a double-edged sword because it's like that, live by the sword, die by the sword. If you have accepted a diagnosis and been labeled, then you are now limited to that label. And we want to avoid that at all costs, because every diagnosis is a result of a set of symptoms, and every symptom has a reason, and not all causes and not all reasons are what you think. So doctors are trained to diagnose symptoms into diseases, and psychologists and psychiatrists are trained to diagnose symptoms, mental health symptoms, into categories and labels and give them a name. But if you have digestive issues and IBS, they are also symptoms of a dysregulated nervous system, and that is part of anxiety. If you've got ADHD, that can be a symptom of high levels of stress, either in early childhood when you're developing, or even if you're going through stress. If you are going through, I've actually got a staff member in my other business at the moment that's going through something in their marriage, causes them not to be able to learn, not to be able to focus. These are things, people can be going through things and then given diagnosis and medication. Anxiety, depression, PTSD, all those associated mental diagnoses, they all have a root cause. And those root causes are usually a couple of things: experiential, yes, environmental, emotional, or generational. And that's a completely different topic, so I'm not going to delve into that today. But welcome to the crazy new age thinking that your healthy emotional and mental development is actually affected by your experiences. How life feels affects how you turn out. And here's another crazy suggestion: that it's possible to recover, to heal, to repair from many of these mental health diagnoses and physical diagnoses, which medical and drug treatments cannot cure. You cannot take a pill to fix something which is in your heart and your mind and your nervous system. There is not a pill to fix that stuff. It's unconscious. It's experiential therapies, emotional therapies, environmental, changing your environment. Those things are going to help. I want to break some of those down. So our experiential our experiential life simply means, when we're doing therapy around experiential therapies, it's about creating new experiences. If you're a child that didn't feel loved, it's about creating experiences of love. If you had a lot of fear in your life, about creating experiences of safety. If you felt helpless and powerless, about creating experiences of feeling your own personal power. And once the unconscious mind has an experience, because the truth is that the unconscious mind does not know the difference between real or imagined, that you are able to extend your capacity. How do you learn? How do you learn to drive? You learn by experiencing it. It's by doing it. And so that's how we can build healing experiences by creating something that you're actually doing, feeling, experiencing with all the senses, and having that will then change some of the stuff that you haven't had in the past, or change the way you experience the past. Environmental, that just means that your surrounding environment, including the people that you've been surrounded by. I mean, we don't all grow up with, the perfect, loving family. We don't all grow up with perfect parents. In fact, none of us have grown up with perfect parents. And being able to make sure that our environment is supportive. Now, I know me personally, I crave for nature. Not all of us are in nature. We've specifically the current children are inside a lot. They're in front of screens a lot. They're not out in dirt and sand and sun and water as much as they should be. And we pick up energy from the electrons from animals and plants and dirt and nature. So it's really important that, we look at what the environment is. If you're in a relationship that's not healthy, if you're in a home that's not healthy, if you're in a job that's not healthy, that's going to affect your mental health. Emotional. Now, you've probably heard of EQ or EI, emotional quotient or emotional intelligence, and our emotions, how we deal with them, how we express them, how we process them, how we release them, is all stuff that we learned. And emotions can be really scary if you grew up in a place where either you were shamed for your emotions, or if your caregivers were displaying really unhealthy, like vomit style, expression of emotions, either holding them in or blurting them out. So it's good to be able to know that there are therapies to create safe ways to express, to feel, to heal, to receive, and release emotions which have been sort of trapped in events in the past. And it's really exciting. It excites me. This stuff excites me. So when our experiences, when our environment, when our emotions have not been healthy, either during childhood, adolescence, early adulthood, or currently, and we end up with these diagnoses, either our health, our mental health, our emotional health, our relationships might even be falling apart. Maybe our work's not the way we would hope it would be, or our finances, whatever it is. And that is not who you are. You are not all of that stuff. You're not your diagnosis. Do not ever allow yourself to be labeled and limited. That is not who you are. You are a person of unlimited potential. And all that these diagnoses indicate is that something has been out of balance in the past, and we can change and make lifestyle changes, make emotional changes, make changes in the thought patterns, make changes in experience, emotions, environment, and be able to shift some of that stuff so that healing happens. Doctors recommend lifestyle changes for physical illness. They say, eat this diet, stop eating that, go and do this exercise, take, this nutritional supplement. But no one seems to recognize that there are as much emotional diet, emotional, experiential, that those things matter too. They're all part of your lifestyle. And often when people have a diagnosis, I will ask them, what was going on for you when these symptoms started? And people often say, hang on a minute, it was about 4 years ago. That was when I had my first child. Oh no, it was about 10 years ago. That's when my father passed away. Or, I lost my job, or we moved house, and that was a really hard time for me. And it's just interesting to note that we never line this stuff up. Like me at the moment with my cervical issues that I'm having surgery for, it's like, what was happening at that time? Well, hey, I got married. I got engaged and married in a period of 8 weeks. Massive life changes in for somebody who's been divorced in the past. Health reflects our emotional, unconscious mind and our experiential environment. We're going to always have, there's going to be links. Like, we're not like a body and a mind and a soul and a heart and all separate. We have like everything's connected. It's like a massive network. And so you press something over here, you pull this, you take that away, and everything else is going to come together. So when you work holistically, you're always going to have a better outcome. You are not your diagnosis. You have potential for much more, including healing. You are much more than your WebMed, Google my ailment list of symptoms and limitations. And like many other people, as Louise Hay says, you can heal your life. You can heal your life. Have a beautiful day.